In Activity 11, Folklore and Forecasting, students discuss weather-related sayings and possible scientific explanations for such sayings. They first examine the accuracy of almanac weather forecasts and then compare and contrast their weather data with almanac forecasts. You will need the following materials from the kit: Activity Sheet 11 and weather stations. You will also need to provide weather reports and the Old Farmer's Almanac, current year edition. To prepare for the activity, make a copy of Activity Sheet 11 for each student. Obtain the Old Farmer's Almanac. Find the page that contains the monthly forecasts for your region and make a copy for each team. Collect weather reports. Each student will need his or her own activity sheet 2 and a copy of the regional forecast from the Old Farmer's Almanac. Each team will need their weather station. To begin the activity, define folklore to students as the traditional beliefs and legends of a people. Some folklore, passed down through generations in the form of sayings and rhymes, addresses weather and weather forecasting. By observing weather conditions every day for a long time, people made connections between the conditions of the sky, the behavior of animals, including birds, and the soon-to-follow weather, thus creating a non-scientific weather forecast. Share with students the following 2 sayings. Red sky in the morning, sailors take warning. If smoke and birds go high, there's no rain in the sky. If smoke and birds are low, watch out for a blow. Find out if the students have heard either of these before, or if they know of any similar types of weather-related sayings. Ask, under what conditions would smoke and birds go high? Smoke would rise straight and high if there were no wind present. Birds fly high when there are no low clouds. The absence of low clouds and wind would indicate fair weather. Remind students of what they have learned about weather forecasting, particularly about winds and clouds, and ask what scientific explanation could you attribute to the second couplet. Students may infer that wind would keep smoke low and that birds would fly under low clouds. Explain that a thunderstorm usually announces its approach by a rush of cold wind that flows out over the ground before the storm. So if both winds and low clouds were present, a storm would indeed be indicated. Recall the first saying and ask, what scientific explanation could you attribute to this saying? Explain that when moisture-laden dust particles or rain clouds reflect the light of the morning sun, the sky appears red. Distribute Activity Sheet 11. Mention that there is a saying that if you see a ring around the moon or the sun, it will rain or snow soon. Also, the number of stars visible in the halo is supposed to tell the number of days until rain. Have students apply what they have learned about water vapor, cloud formation, and precipitation to help them explain why this saying was coined. Guide students to answer question 2 on their activity sheets. Once they have finished, ask volunteers to share their sayings with the class. Hold up the Old Farmer's Almanac and tell students that this book contains weather forecasts for every month for all parts of the country. An almanac contains forecasts made at the beginning of the year based on phases of the moon and previous year's records, as well as non-scientific phenomena. Historically, most weather seasons occur in cycles: drought, wet, warm, or cold. Folklore also says that the severity of the winter can be predicted by observing the thickness of the coats of fur on animals. Distribute the copies of your region's weather forecasts to each team. Explain that these regional forecasts are broken down into monthly forecasts that predict the average temperature, amount of precipitation, and general weather conditions for that region. Have the students refer to the data they have collected and recorded on Activity Sheet 2, and compare it with the forecast published in the Old Farmer's Almanac. Lead a discussion by asking students, how did the almanac's forecast compare with the data you collected? The almanac's forecast may be similar to the student's data, or it may be very different. Then ask, do you think scientifically collected data can create more accurate forecasts than an almanac? Overall, scientifically collected data has proven to be a more reliable forecaster of weather than the methods used in an almanac. Have teams retrieve their weather stations and secure the newest weather report on top of the other weather reports in the bottom center of their weather station. Finally, lead a discussion comparing yesterday's forecast with today's actual weather. To conclude the activity, have students return their weather stations to the designated areas. For science background, reinforcement activities, curriculum connections, and information about the Delta Science Reader, please consult your DSM Teacher's Guide.